this mysterious woman appeared to me, and she hugged me and she started giving me sexual pleasure.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It
feels real.
It feels so real. It is, I don't know how to describe this. On my way to railways, I started seeing papers on the road, and then my head was locked like this. And then a part of me was like, ooh, this is a paper, collect this paper, take this one, take this one, take the serial numbers on those papers, and then we are going to send you to do some kind of business, whatever, nini. And then a part of, now the same part of my brain told me, like, bruh, you cannot pick papers. Like, we know we have been mad, but we're not gonna collect this paper. We're not gonna collect papers. I really suffered. I remember I was peeing on myself.
Oh.
There are times at night I could just pee on myself because the things that I was experiencing were way too much. And being locked in hospital, you know, like being locked in the seclusion chamber, I'm literally shitting on myself, peeing on myself, because it's real suffering. And so for me, when they're taking me to Bustani, I'm there in my mind. The narrative in my mind is like, oh, finally you're going to meet your father, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, your father. You're gonna meet him in a safe house somewhere. And then so they're taking me to Lavington. So I'm like, okay, this looks like
this could be Uhuru's
This could be Uhuru's place. So they walk me into the rehab, and they sign the papers. And so when they sign the papers, my dad is the one who's signing the papers. And so I'm like, Dad, are you signing me off? Are you like signing off and like taking me to my new father?
Real father. What's up, everybody, and welcome to TUKO Extra. My name is Lily Aisha. Now, if you know money, you know Kimani. Kimani with the money. When I live here, bro, you need to give me money. Anyway, guys, so today I'm in the space of Kimani Mbugua. Kimani, I know most of you you've read about his podcast. He had so much to say that caught us in surprise. We're like, this is where this man's been? What? I swear, for a minute, I thought this was a movie. I will not lie to you, but he will come and explain to us what he's been through, what all this is, what he's feeling now after he's actually aired his story and everything. Yeah, I think I'm done talking for now. Let me over to you back in studio, Kimani.
It's been a while since I've done this. I haven't been on camera for like really? 8 months.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's almost a year.
Yeah.
Karibu, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Kimani Mbugua. That's my name.
That's your name.
Yeah, I kind of had to say that to myself again to, just ease into myself. Because I haven't done media work in a while. And, it's been about 8 years. Now I'm going to the 9th month out of the media. And it's been fantastic. I'm working on different projects. And one of them is this podcast that I just launched. This week on Sunday.
Such a big launch. Like, boom.
Oh, I didn't expect it to go as viral. I was just interested in telling the story. I knew somebody actually tweeted yesterday to me, and they were like, you have your friends are the whatever, because none of them leaked any of this information to the media.
True.
And I thought about it. I was like, yes, it's true. It's true. Like, because none of my friends ever talked about this. I was in like messy relationships, and none of my exes went to talk about it. So I respect all of them for that, including my friends now who've been like very close to me throughout the journey. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because immediately I had this. I was like, where were we? How come we didn't? How come nothing leaked? Like the slightest things. The fact that you are a celebrity. You were in the public eye.
I was a celebrity.
Actually, you are. I don't even know. I'm putting it as past tense because you still are. I was like, excuse me, please, teacher, a question. Mbona tujasikia stories on say? It was so interesting because you went to public places. I mean, you mentioned Avenue Hospital, you mentioned Chiromo. These are public places that anyone could see you. Anyway, I think let's just get right into it.
Yes.
So we knew you, Kimani, through media.
Yes.
I think your first job was NTV, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, my first job was actually on Nation FM.
Nation FM.
Yeah, Nation FM. I got into Nation FM in 2015. It was 2015 in December of 2015. So for me, even getting on Citizen TV, it was by accident. So they had this this morning show, and somebody was, I think it was Patrick Igunza, who was supposed to do the traffic report, and he did it even for the first day. But then I think for him, he was like, this is too early, I can't be waking up at 4 to come and do this stuff. So I think he pulled out on the first day. He only did one episode. So the next day they didn't have somebody to host. So my editor then, Pamela, called me and she was like, look, we need somebody to do the traffic report in the morning. So I've talked to Linus, so whatever you are doing on Visasa now, you just come on to the TV show. You'll be doing the morning traffic and whatever else is needed for the morning show. So I became they gave me the segment, the traffic report in the morning, and then everything else. I was now the kind of like a satellite reporter. They can send you to do anything during the morning. So that became my new gig, and that's how I got into now Citizen TV in the morning. And later on they relaunched the whole. They were relaunching the whole show, the whole programming on the whole news programming, and the Friday show was supposed to be Wahiga Maora and Jackie Maribe. So Wahiga and Jackie called me and they were like, "Oh, Kimani, we want you to be on our team for the Friday show. We have this idea for a kind of like a comic kind of news that would fit well on the Friday bulletin." So they were like, "Would you like do satire? You know, like go ask people simple questions on whatever." And I was like, yes, definitely, by all means. So that's how I got Broken News. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kimani Mbugua, as always, and you're watching Broken News. So Broken News was, I don't know who came up with the word Broken News. I don't remember, because somebody in the team, I don't know, I think it's Wahiga who came up with the name Broken News. And then they were like, yeah, we want you to do this. This is like Broken News. Go interview, do whatever. So I kind of got the concept from the word go. So they were like, okay, ask people simple questions. See, like at first it was like it was all supposed to be based on the news, but then I expanded it later to general knowledge questions, and it became a thing. So the very first episode launched, and people loved it.
For sure, people
loved it. It became like an instant hit, and that's how I started becoming even more popular.
Wow, that's it. There's so much. I'm just like, okay, well, right. So clearly it's not that you just walked in and life opened itself like this.
Yeah, no.
A lot to get to where you are.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've known Kimani, we've seen all this, but suddenly we can't see Kimani.
Yeah.
Kimani has where is Kimani? Guys, where is he? Then we're like, is it COVID? Because it was during that time. Like, is it COVID?
Yeah.
Is it that NTV laid off? I mean, Citizen laid off guys and we don't know. Something is happening, but we just don't know what it is. Where was Kimani?
Oh yeah, now I think I have to dispel that rumor. And this rumor is spread by a specific group of people who want to make it look like I was fired from Citizen.
Yeah.
I was never fired from Citizen. In fact, I resigned from Citizen. It took Citizen like 3-4 months for them to accept my resignation. It took that long, because as you've had in the podcast, I gave in my resignation immediately after coming from hospital.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Are you resigning because you were sick?" Or so then the HR was like, "I know, Kimani, this is probably not what you want, so take your time, go home, go rest, go to hospital, make sure you get treated." And then when you come back, if you still want to resign, then we'll accept your resignation. So I was never fired from Citizen TV. I resigned. In fact, I have those papers with me. Of if anybody wants that evidence, those of you who want to paint my name like Kimani was fired from Citizen TV. No, I was never fired by anybody. I actually resigned. In fact, I have that. You know, they give you that certificate of service. If you have a certificate of service from a company, that means the company first of all appreciates the work that you did, and that's why I appreciate Citizen so much, because they let me go in peace.
Yes.
They're like, we understand what you're going through, so we'll let you be.
It is colorless. How do you see a color that's colorless?
So I know I have told this story, but I will tell you in my podcast. But I will tell you why I was in hospital. So, in February of 2020, I began smoking marijuana. Out of stress, I was stressed up with work, and many things were happening in my life. So, I decided to start smoking weed. And at that time, I already knew that smoking weed was giving me a lot of problems that I didn't understand, because I used to smoke weed and then I get these heavy palpitations, and I don't know, now I later came to know, like, that's a feeling of being high, but you feel this palpitations in your heart, like your heart is like bursting out of your chest. And so but still, even with that knowledge in mind, still in February of 2020, I was like, okay, let me just smoke, maybe I'll get a proper I'll have a different feeling. And I got my very first good high. And I've said this, everybody who's used drugs, your first good high is usually your best, and it never comes back. Because I know a lot of friends of mine who've struggled with drug abuse. I know some of them, even people I've been in relationships with, who even use hard drugs. Some have even used harder drugs and either use cocaine, other harder drugs.
Harder drugs.
Yeah, and usually are chasing that fast high, because usually when you take that fast line, or when you take that fast hit, and it really gives you that good kick, that good high, it's your brain is a virgin to drugs.
Yeah.
So that experience is usually very ecstatic, and that's what I had. Smoked weed in my house, and I had this ecstatic moment. And I've given this example of Euphoria. For those of you who watch Euphoria, the show, the way Rue gets into these psychotic moments where she actually gets into another world. I think in season 2, she's hugging her father, I think. Hugging her father, but her father is dead. But she's hugging him, like hugging her father, and then she gets into this church, and then she starts seeing all of these different things. So that's what I started seeing. Like this mysterious woman appeared to me, and she hugged me, and she started giving me sexual pleasure.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It
feels real.
It feels so real. It is. I don't know how to describe this, and I have. Okay, if you keep listening to my podcast, I'll keep breaking it down for you, because it's something that it will take a while for me to articulate to people, so that people can really understand. So what happens is your brain goes outside of reality. It goes outside of this reality. Yes, I could be here with you, but I'm seeing totally different things. So that's schizophrenia. So what happens is, and what I got diagnosed with soon after I smoked weed, and I talk about the explosion day on the podcast, is I started getting outside of reality, like seeing things that other people are not seeing. So that's schizophrenia. So what they diagnosed me with was, and the first diagnosis was an acute psychotic episode. So the word acute means very intense.
Something.
It was something huge that happened to me. So on the first day, it was this mysterious woman who came to me, and she was pleasuring me, and so the sexual pleasure and the pleasure of getting outside of reality, feeling like you're seeing things that other people are not seeing, and you're actually seeing this, because I could see this woman in my living room. This colors, you know, she was in this colored bush with it was like a white rose flower, and then she was right there in the middle, you know, and she's silky, you know, like typically what you see in movies and films. Like, if I give you, there's a song I think by Doja Cat and Caesar. Yeah, is she called Caesar?
Yeah, it's called
Caesar. Yeah, that song by Doja Cat and Caesar, like that kind of experience. So she's there, that she's calling me, she's hugging me and holding me, so I could like get on the floor, and then she would hold me. It was this whole screwed up thing.
You were alone in the house.
Yeah, and I was alone in the house.
Imagine someone watching you like this, just like, what's going on, sir? Sir.
I know, and I was super high. So after that, I continued smoking weed. I remember, I used to go to work, and immediately after like the show, at 10, immediately after the show, sometimes I would even, because I was so eager to like talk to this woman, I would go lock myself in the car, still at the parking lot at work, and smoke weed, and then get really high, see this woman, she would come, you know, the whole pleasure thing, and then I would now continue home. Then I get home, again I said, take another blunt.
I need this babe back.
Smoke, and then the babe comes back in my house, and she takes me on this whole journey with, you know, it's a lot of, I don't know I don't know how to describe it to you, but it's psychosis basically. You lose touch with reality. You start seeing things that are not there. And so when the day it exploded, I was going home or driving home with my fiance, and I felt this sensation, that sensation again come back, because I had smoked it. I had smoked a lot of weed and a lot of cigarettes and a lot of Red Bull. So
that's a lot.
That's a lot. So like smoking like 5 cigarettes and then smoke weed and then take like 2 cans of Red Bull. It exploded, and I got out of my car, and I parked the car in the middle of the road, got out, and then I was like, oh, this is a new world now. I started, it's like an alternative universe. Like I got thrusted into an alternative universe. It's still the same, still the same people, the same environment, the same everything that's happening in this environment. But on the other side, it's more heightened. Like you feel like everything is connected with power, because you can feel like the energy in your body is so much, and it's going through your veins, and it's so powerful. So I got out. Started marching the salute, because I had, in my mind, I saw this like I had just been initiated into some kind of superhuman military force.
Oh, wow.
It's like the KDF that we know, but now like the KDF on the alternative world. But so they have superhuman powers. They can communicate telepathically. So spun out, and remember now, my fiance started screaming. She was like, hey, Kimani, get back in the car. What are you doing? So I got back in the car. Then we started driving up. When we got to the Raptor Road junction, I caused an accident. And by the time I caused the accident, I had already shifted into this other world. And I don't know how to explain this to a lot of people. But the way it felt to me, and that's still how and in my book I try to articulate it as best as I can. It felt like dying and going to the world where people go when they die, but at the same time I was alive, which makes it really hard to articulate, because okay, you're not dead, so
what do you mean?
You were just psychotic. So I don't know if everybody who goes through psychosis experiences it the same, but I have come to learn that a lot of mad people, like when mad people are talking to each other, they can all understand each other.
Just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So they all like living in this. There's something
Wild.
common about the world that they're all experiencing. My fiance is there crying, like she doesn't know what
What's
to do.
going on,
Like,
yeah.
but now she called my friends. So my friends came because we had just met them. We had just bumped into each other like about 30 minutes before, and so they were all around the Kilimani Kileleshwa area. So they all came to Raptor Road, and like we went to the police station and to Parklands police station. So they posted my bail. They talked to the police. They were like, okay, this guy he's actually not in his right mind. He actually needs to be in hospital, not to be in a police cell right now. So the police accepted. They were like, yeah, we've actually noticed because he looked like he was driving under the influence. And so they processed my bail and everything. And then I went home. They were like, okay, let's just take you home, and then we'll, if he doesn't show signs of recovery, we'll take him to hospital the next day. So I went home with my fiance that night. And that night, now my mind is completely crazy. I started experiencing a different world. And as I talk about it in the podcast, it's a world that's not bound by time or space. So you could be talking to someone who has died many years before, but then they're talking to you. Like you're talking to the spirits of dead people, and you're living in a world where things are happening that are coinciding with things in this world that now completely make you dysfunctional. Because people in this world, they can't see what you're seeing. But for you can like see both, and you don't know what to make of both worlds. So I'm sitting here with you, and I'm telling you. I remember I completely lost it because I didn't know where I was because at that time I thought I had died. So I thought I'm living in, okay, now I'm existing in this world where people go when they die. And so I'm like, how do I get back to my body? So there's that sensation like, I need to get back to my body. I need to get back to breathing normally. I need to get back to functioning normally because I can see this is my fiance. She's here. She's holding me on her thighs, and she's like, now I don't know what to do with you, Kimani, because you're crying, you're shouting, you're saying things I don't understand. I don't know what to do with you. So she gave me a pill. She gave me a pain reliever. It's all she could do at that point because she was like, maybe he's in pain. I don't know what to do. And she held me in her arms, and I was lying on bed, and she was holding me. And I remember she gave me the pill, and all of a sudden I started seeing now this narrative. Now I use a narrative because usually when you're mad, like there's so many narratives in your head. That's why you see a mad person will say one thing now, and then they'll say another thing, and then they'll say another thing. It won't make sense to anybody, and you don't know what to make of them. So those are narratives in your head. So the first narrative was, I saw myself as now I'm dead, and these people, there were people with a truck outside who were now completely taking over my body, and they had given my fiance that pill to give me. So if I take that pill, I will now completely lose it. And she gave it to me, and I was like,
Oh.
I took it, but then I was like, I'm sorry, but I think this is the end of me.
What?
And she was like, oh, Kimani, what's wrong with you? I think that's also like probably the longest night she's ever had because we didn't sleep. We didn't sleep because I kept like shouting, waking up, making all of the sounds because I'm really struggling to like get back to my normal body. I just want to be normal, but then I can't. So I get on my phone, and then I see all of these text messages that are coming in. I try to respond to them, but it's like my hands are tied to. It's like another whole spirit has taken over me. So I'm trying to text back. I'm trying to text people that I know. I'm trying to like talk to my cousins. I'm trying to talk to my mom. I'm trying to talk to my dad. I can't even get myself to do that. And so she's there. She's like, she doesn't know what to do. So I made it through the night, and although I still it was so much, because now she was like, okay, do you need to shower? She was like, okay, she gave me a towel. I got into the shower, and then as I was showering, I started seeing myself as one body but with two spirits inside.
Kimani.
Yeah. So I'm Kimani, yes, but then I have another spirit inside of me, and that spirit was, like I talk about it in the podcast, it's Farid Kimani. So I was like, so I'm like, it's me and Farid Kimani in the same body. So we are like trying to fight to like,
who's the bigger Kimani?
Who's the bigger Kimani? And so like the whole night I'm trying to fight with him, and so I don't know how to describe it to you. I get into this phase where my heart is racing. I feel like it's expanding out of my chest, and so I don't know how to feel normal. So I feel like there's this, like I'm busting out of myself, and that's so scary, because the paranoia, that you have, like you feel like you're closing your eyes, and then you can imagine your heart now splattering out and spewing blood, because your heart is beating so fast. And so I start crying. I start calling out Farid, and I'm like, Farid, please, Farid, please, just please make sure we don't die. Like, you're gonna kill me. So I'm like, he's in my body. I don't know for some reason. So I remember I called him later during that period. I called him later, and then I was like, I saw you at the hospital, and you were trying to save your mom and whatever. And then he was like, dude,
bruh,
you definitely got bonkers, man.
That wasn't me.
Just you need to go back to the hospital. So I struggled through that night, and the next day, my fiance took me to hospital, to Avenue Hospital in Parklands, and she called my dad. My dad came, and I got admitted. So on my way to being admitted at the they have the psychiatric ward at the topmost floor of the hospital. So as I was walking in the floor, now I start seeing these things happening in the alternative universe. I see one of my exes on a what is it called? That bed that they give birth. I see her like giving birth, and then a lot of people surrounding her, nurses surrounding her. And then that's not her, but it was somebody else who looked like her. And then so many things happening in this hospital that that they were taking me into. So obviously, usually when you're being admitted to a mental hospital, the first place they take you is the seclusion chamber, because now in the seclusion chamber you can't. It has a heavy door. But you can't unlock the door. It's usually like a heavy metal door, and it's like a fortified room. But this one had a window, so I could look over to the other side, and I could see what was happening outside.
You just can't go there.
Yeah, but I just can't go there. So now I got in there, and so in my mind I'm trying to get back to the real world, and I started walking across. There's tiles on the floor, so I started walking in a pattern on the tiles, like a square pattern on the tiles, and I could walk like that for hours. Like, so in my mind I'm like, this is time travel. I'm like time traveling, and there's this it's called neuropathy. It's a sensation where when you touch your clothes, or when you touch something, or when you touch your clothes, you feel this magnetic feeling. I can feel it right now. I think this is part of the things that never really left. It's like neuropathy. I don't know what causes it. Even doctors don't know what causes it, by the way. So, but it's that kind of magnetic feeling, like you feel like your clothes become like a bit piercy, like you can feel that. So I can feel it right now, but it's kidogo too. Not as I felt at that time, but I think it's one of the things that just stuck with me. Although I think I had it before, maybe I just didn't know. But that time I could feel my clothes now get attached to my hands. So I could walk around that square for hours trying to like time travel back to the time when I was normal. Because in my mind I was like, now Kimani, you're dead. You're dead.
It's another world.
This is another world. As you can see, it's very brutal.
Don't like it.
And I don't like it. In fact, I was like, at one point, I get a sensation that things are going to be okay. You have this this euphoric feeling that everything is about to be okay. I'm about to be a rich person. I'm about to, President Uhuru is my father. He's about to come and get me out of... He's about to come and get me out of hospital, my son. I told my cousin that, and then she was like, Kimani, oh my God.
What's going on?
What is wrong with you? Because I used to call her and tell her, like, you don't worry, he's gonna come and he's gonna come. You don't worry. You know, he's busy right now. Of course, he's the president. He's busy right now. He's gonna come. But that's called grandiosity. Like when you're psychotic, so you have this delusions of grandeur. Like you're somebody important. And
you've learnt a lot of words.
I know.
Like you're robot grand. You're about to be a doctor.
I know, right? Actually, I'm going to be doing my second undergrad in psychology, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. That would be... now you'll be able to understand a lot.
Yeah.
You'll see someone you like, they've done that. So
I'm like, it's something I want to do. So even if I don't end up like practicing psychology, but at least I want to have that background, because I feel like through this whole period, I feel like I became a psychologist myself, because I have spent most of my time with psychiatrists and psychologists, and I've kind of learned their lingo. I've learned the meds that they give you. So right now, if I see somebody who's mad, I can be able to tell you this person has this kind of madness.
Really?
So I can be able to do that. Yeah, I stayed in Avenue for 2 weeks. Then I got released. I went back to work. I remember I had told you in the podcast, I say I had written my resignation letter way before, before I started smoking weed. Before I started smoking weed, I had wanted to leave the limelight, because I felt very uncomfortable. I had gotten to this point where I felt it's like this life of fame was not meant for me, because there's so many things I couldn't do by myself. I just felt so uncomfortable that I wanted to take a more background role, producing content, writing content, writing shows, producing. I felt like I needed to go back behind the camera, but at that point I couldn't do it, because I had all of these shows that were going on, and I couldn't do it. So I had already written my resignation. I talked to Farid, and I think that's why now Farid came into my delusions, because we became friends for a bit. I got introduced to him by my fiance at that time, and so I told her, hey, you know what, I think I want to leave media. I don't know what to do. And then she was like, I know the right person to talk to. They were friends with Farid, so she was like, you go talk to Farid, see what happens. So we went to Farid's house, and we sat down for an afternoon talking about my experience, like how I explained to him the point that I was in at that point, and he understood. He was like, yeah, sure. I think there's something we can do, but you come in, do an interview with the rest of the team, and then we see if we can give you a job. So I went in, I did the interview, but then immediately after the interview, now everything else started happening. So by the time I got out of hospital from Avenue, I had already done the interview with him. He was already interested in giving me a job. But then by that time, COVID had hit and a lot of his projects were cancelled. So he was like, now dude, please don't resign from Citizen because I can't be able to pay you because all of these gigs that I have been cancelled. And now we don't know how long this is going to take. Nobody knows anything. So you just keep your gig at Citizen. But then I was like, I still don't want to work. I still don't want to be in the limelight again. I felt, and it's true because even now I think God was preparing me for this other life, because now I'm working towards starting my own channel, and you know, like kind of God was taking me through this experience that I can end up here, because now I'm seriously considering it. I have a couple of investors who I'm talking with, and we are like slowly piecing things together. My dad is very instrumental in the process. He's the one who's introduced me to these people, and now I'm building up towards, you know, launching something new that I'm going to be in charge of. But then at that time, I still wanted to leave. When I got released from Avenue, I went back and I gave my resignation letter. And the HR, her name is Rose Wanjohi. Rose Wanjohi is a fantastic human being. She was a solid rock to my family and me when I was going through all of this. Remember when I told you, like, I started by telling you, like, people saying my friends are really the best because none of this leaked. Rose made sure that I never showed up at work when I was in that state.
Okay.
There's a time I remember I showed up at work. I still hadn't healed, and I was at the gate, you know, I was talking crazy to everybody, and then she was like, I think she called an Uber. She called an Uber for me. Actually, she called a driver, a Citizen driver. She was like, please get Kimani inside the vehicle before he gets to talk to anybody else. Get him inside the vehicle, take him straight home. Please don't let him talk to anybody else, because it's like he's gonna start doing things here, and everybody's gonna know what's happening to him. So again, they allowed me to, you know, go home and recover. Still, the first time after being released from the first time at Avenue, I came back home. I started smoking weed again because of that lady that used to come to me. So
you want her back.
I wanted her back. I wanted to feel that, you know, that ecstatic experience. You know, I wanted to experience that again. And then soon after that, I got mad again, and I was taken back to Avenue, and I stayed at Avenue again for, I think, 3 weeks. I don't remember how many, maybe it was a long time. I stayed in hospital for a very long time, I remember, and it was so bad, because, you know, like when you're psychotic, when you're mad, you don't usually at first. Now you see, like when I'm speaking about it now, it seems like I was aware of what was happening that time. Nope. You might think that I knew what was happening, and now I'm narrating. No, I didn't know. In my mind, I was like, I'm totally fine. I'm like, even I was asking my friends and my cousins whenever we got together, like, what's wrong with you guys? Why are you guys even taking me to hospital? Like, what disease am I suffering from? And you know, they couldn't tell me. They couldn't tell me. Like, they can't tell you, like, hey bro, machizi bana, like, kitu imeenda nini, mawaya zako za kichwa zime
loose
nut in the head. So they couldn't tell me, obviously. So for me, I was like, I'm fine in hospital. So I used to stay in hospital, and I'm like, why am I here? Like, my family, why are they doing this to me? So I got released from Avenue the second time. Then I went to stay with my parents, and then I still didn't get back to normal. Although when I lived with my parents, I didn't smoke weed, but I still couldn't get normal. So when I was in my mom's house, they literally locked me in a room because they feared that I could, you know, get out and run away, and they'd lose me. So eventually they decided, okay, let's just take him to rehab.
Let's risk this.
Yeah, so they took me to rehab. That's how I ended up at Bustani in Lavington. And so for me, when they're taking me to Bustani, I'm there in my mind. The narrative in my mind is like, oh, finally you're going to meet your father, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta. Your father, you're gonna meet him
in a safe house.
In a safe house somewhere. And then so they're taking me to Lavington. So I'm like, okay, this looks like
this could be Uhuru's
this could
place.
It could be Uhuru's place. So they walk me into the rehab, and they sign the papers. And so when they sign the papers, my dad is the one who's signing the papers. And so I'm like, Dad, are you signing me off? Are you like signing off and like taking me to my new father?
Real father.
Yeah, so they left me there, and then when they left, there was this guy at the rehab. He looked like Bob Collymore.
I had that and also okay, Kimani.
He really looked like Bob Collymore. So now I saw him, and then I was like, oh, this is Bob, because before I was in the spirit world, like I could talk to like
the who's
the who and who's who were dead, and I at one point I did like see the spirit of Bob Collymore, who was like we were in purgatory together, and we were all now like doing penances for our sins. And so the experience was, okay, let me tell you that experience of Bob Collymore. So he came to me in this delusion, and he told me that I have two offers for you. This is in the other world,
okay, but
now
you can feel like it's real.
It's because I'm alive, so now I'm experiencing it in this world. So he was like, so I have two offers for you. I want you to be the CEO of Netflix or the CEO of Safaricom.
Such good jobs.
I know the grandiosity. It's like, I want you to be the CEO of Netflix or the CEO of Safaricom. And then I was like, I don't want to be the CEO of Safaricom because I feel like it's a really boring job. And then he was like, don't worry. So you can take the Netflix job. So